Lots of blood in the streets without the tape data being shown to us. Let's go ahead and find out what it did to our preferred stock. What is up, you guys? Thank you so much for stopping by once again on this happy Monday. This is ARCa coming at you with a GTII technicals and raw price action thread of analysis. Before we get started, please make sure to subscribe to the channel, like the video, and share the video with a friend so that you and them could consider joining our trading community and Discord called ARCa Bulls. With that said, let's dive right into the charts. Okay, so GTII on the daily chart here, and we are looking at the ARC-Series enhanced MACD indicator. Okay, so I wanted to just point out really quick that it's on a 3-day time frame, and whatever happened today, with the sell-off that happened on Friday versus the continuation to the downside today, it actually has not flashed any bear signals just yet, and in fact, we're still in expansion. Okay, so things are still looking pretty good. Let's go ahead and move on to the next chart and see what we have. Okay, so this is part of the broadening descending wedge that we've been riding for some time, right? So we face that resistance from the take profit zone of it's per the playbook rules. Remember, per the playbook rules, the take profit zone is usually located at the genesis of the formation, which is pretty much playing that same thing. So we also talked about two areas of potential loading, right? So today we actually used the first area, right? So a few people actually reached out to me on DM and they said, any chance that it can actually go, that it wouldn't go down to these levels? I said, yeah, the 205 zone would be essentially a good area for a bounce. Now, it did bounce from there nicely. However, it printed an indecision spinning top doji candle. Okay, so that's usually a tie between the bears and the bulls. Okay, so I'm showing you the charts no matter what because the day of trading never stopped, so it's relevant. No matter which way you look at it, it's relevant. So this is why I have to show you this. Okay, you guys. And in fact, our areas of support were respected, even though the data was not being shown to us. So this is just goes to show how relevant the charts are even still. But let's go ahead and find out what could be happening, because there could be a continuation to the downside. And remember, I still have this area of support that I was looking at. The reason why I'm looking at this area of support was, first of all, because when we break out of a broadening descending wedge, we actually do need to, in a sense, come back and validate or confirm that newly converted resistance into support before a continuation to the upside. So in other words, the upside path, it could look like this, it absolutely could, it's moving per the normal price movements, right? So it is an absolute possibility that we're doing these cycles are pretty essential in trading, right? So let's go ahead and continue our validation process here. Okay, so very interesting thing here, that the 8-hour DBSI indicator, which is another Crypstex ARC-Series indicator that takes a metric of every single candle throughout the entire trading history of the asset's time frame. In this case, the 8-hour. Okay, so very interesting thing here is that the display or the results based on every candle print is still suggesting that the bulls are at an 84% lead over the bears at 16. So I find it very curious that it's noticing that. Another thing is that we actually are closing just below the 13-day exponential moving average here, which could lead to a potential short-term downside. Okay, so let's go ahead and continue validating that. Okay, but and I'm talking about short-term. It doesn't look like it could be a reversal of any kind. Okay, so now the 3-day chart. This is the statistical side of the analysis. I just wanted to point out that this, the manual way of looking at volatility versus momentum is here. Okay, so the Crypstex way, the ARC-Series way, we condensed it into a one indicator so that you can see volatility represented by this red cloud and momentum represented by the MACD average. Okay, so, and it does cater a bull and bear signals for your convenience as well. So I want to touch with the manual side as well, because as you can see here, momentum is still pivoted straight to the upside. And if you remember the data results that we actually took into consideration here, out of a total 11 iterations, particular to the stochastic momentum indicator, 7 out of those 11 times, 10 out of those 11 times have been guessed correctly to guessing the asset's direction in general. So that's giving the momentum upside accuracy of 90%. Okay, so this is, and it's still suggesting upside. So I'm curious. I'm curious because the pullback that we're facing may really just be a temporary pullback. Okay, so now let's continue on to the RSI here. So RSI is actually suggesting a little bit of a consolidation period on the hourly. Okay, so which is good. There's no capitulation happening here, and it's not immediate. Okay, so now the 4-hour is suggesting a little bit of consolidation as well, but I must warn that where we're sitting here is in the gravitational zone of the bull strength percentile. Okay, so when we're in that gravitational zone down here, that usually presents, a potential downside continuation. And what validates that downside continuation is, in fact, the 8-hour. You can actually tell the time frames right up here. Okay, as I switch windows, you see the time frame switching right up here. Okay, so what validates the downside from the 4-hour is actually the 8-hour, and this is still suggesting some downside. In fact, it's in the bull strength percentile. So we do have to give it some credibility here. Okay, so now where I start to see that it's a limited downside, where it's not a reversal like I was saying earlier, is actually in respects to the daily. Okay, so the daily actually has a very important support right down here, not to mention the fact that we are actually already notching right here. Okay, so this notch usually presents kind of a weakness from the bears. Meaning that their pressure is starting to kind of minimize, right? So what we're looking at here is the potential of using 2 different types of supports all in one shot. So it would be the 14-day simple moving average, and we would use the gravitational zone from the bull weakness percentile. Okay, so as soon as that RSI signal represented by this purple line touches our 14-day simple pink line, it'll essentially use both of these areas as a support before a continuation onto the upside. Okay, so now the 3-day is suggesting a little bit of consolidation. I know. I hate these little notches. They're not so reliable all the time. You know what I mean? But in this case, we're respecting this little notch. Firstly, because because we are within the gravitational zone, suggesting a continuation to the downside. But here we're smack in the middle of the bull weakness percentile. So this is slightly bullish, but sideways, right? The 14-day simple is still suggesting an upside, and the 5-day, let's see the 3-day. Okay, so this was the 3-day here. So the 5-day is still suggesting an upside continuation. Very good thing here is that we're outside of the gravitational zone of the bull weakness percentile. So this is I'm still getting a bias here for a short-term downside. Okay, so the fact that we recovered from that 205 area now makes me feel that the downside that we may be facing for the next session or two may be as limited to the top side of our following support. Okay, so let me just go ahead and make sure that I can show you the EMAs as well. Okay, so we're going to load up a 7 and 30 period of the exponential moving averages. The exponential, the 7 period actually was used alongside our support of 205 before a bounce, right? So the reason why I'm telling you that we may actually face a temporary downside is also because the SMA 10 landing at about 177. So now my actual target could actually be right here, between the SMA 10 and the topside target of the 1.272 at 194. So essentially 177 to 194 is what I'm looking at for a short-term support. And as soon as we do face a bounce like this, we're gonna really see it affect flash all of the momentum signals. So then we'll touch bases and continue looking at the probabilities here. But yeah, we can face a bounce right here, but still there's going to be the resistance from this zone here. So it's probably going to, you know, kind of consolidate within this area before we can continue on to the upside. And it's okay. You know, these things tend to happen like this before we can continue, right? So we need some further validations here. But GTII is still explosive, and it's still very much suggesting an upside continuation, especially since the fact that we're breaking out from a very complex breakout and a long-standing formation here, buy formation, right? So yeah, that's going to do it for the video, guys. Know that I'm not a financial advisor. Take whatever I do show and iterate within these videos as just a form of entertainment, as I cannot suggest for you to buy or sell any assets whatsoever, okay? I need you to do your own due diligence, and everything will be just fine. All right, but with that said, I wish you well, a very good night, and I will catch you at the bell mañana. Adios.